The last part of the Restoring Health series is overcoming physical challenges, okay? Just as we talked about that the soul can affect the body, the spirit can affect the body, also the body can affect the soul. Yes, it's this cycle, it's a circle, okay? That's why when people ask me, why doesn't God heal all? Well, it's a simple question to a complex answer. It could be that it's a spiritual issue. You just need to break the curse, cast out a demon, heal. It could be a soul issue, much more difficult, much harder, because there's a mind, there's a will, there's emotions. You got to work through it. A person has to come to the place. But there's also physical things that you can't blame your soul, you can't blame the devil. You have to take responsibility for it and take care of your body. And your body affects your soul. Some are waiting on God to heal their body, but God is waiting on you to take care of your body. Oftentimes we have this passive faith. We don't want to eat right, we don't want to exercise, we don't want to sleep, we don't want to stay hydrated, we don't want to fast. We do what's pleasing to the flesh. And I say, God, take it all away. We got high blood pressure, we got sugar diabetes, our heart is clogged up and barely struggling to pump the blood through our body. And say, it's just God's will, God's bill, God's will, He'll heal me. No, God's will is to heal you, but He created us in partnership with Him, not in us being passive, not in us just being carnal and doing what pleases our body, and we ignore His principles of health. Are you with me? Yes. And sometimes you don't need to come to the front and ask, Pastor, please pray, I have a high blood pressure. All you gotta do is just start eating some veggies and cut down on some sugars, and that's it. No supernatural healing needed. Natural healing would take place. Are you with me? God won't do it for you what you can do for yourself. Okay? God won't do it for you what you can do it for yourself. God wants you to take care of your temple. It's His temple. We have to take care of it. I think of sometimes you drive around nice neighborhoods, and I used to be in a construction where we were building luxury homes, and you drive through those neighborhoods, and they're beautiful homes on outside and just all around, everything's trimmed, everything looks nice. But some of those people that I've worked with, some entire subdivisions, and I know them personally because we were involved with them for 9 months while we were building. While the house on the outside looked nice, the occupants of the house were sick and ugly and distracted and just not good, like fighting internally. You know what I'm talking about? So it's kind of like our house. We could look good on outside, but our soul is a mess. Okay? But there are other people, they're so good together. The families put together, the husband and wife, they live in peace and harmony. But man, the house inside and out is just trash. You know what I mean? And it's like, what's going on here? And then, I started my business, construction business in remodels, and I even have done some homes where people were living and they neglected their house so bad that it was growing black mold, which is very harmful for your health. And they were wondering why they were getting sick in the house. Kids were getting sick in the house because their body, their house body was sick. It wasn't taken care of, it was not maintained. Therefore, the occupants of the body were sick. And that's how it is with our physical body. Bible says we're the tent, we're the temple of the Holy Spirit. So our body, when it's taken care of, and our soul, when it's taken care of, we live in harmony and peace, and we are moving forward in life doing what God has called us to do. But we could be good in our soul. We can experience God's presence. We can enjoy like what we did today. But we don't take care of our temple. That eventually begins to affect our spiritual and emotional life. For example, if you want to get up in the mornings and spend mornings in prayer and in devotion with God, if you don't go sleep early enough, you can't wake up early enough to be with the Lord. And it's not you being lazy, it's just your body needs sleep. Okay? So when you neglect your sleep, when you have a poor diet, you don't eat well, that makes you sluggish, makes you slow, makes you want to sleep longer, then your soul suffers and your spirit suffers because you don't do what you're supposed to do. So our body must be maintained for the Lord and for His purposes. And some of the sicknesses and disease that we are experiencing could just be gone away with if we do these 4 things. Number 1 is sleep. Sleep supports physical health. Sleep is essential for physical health because it regulates body metabolism, immune system, and hormones level. During the sleep, the body produces growth hormone, which is important for repairing and regenerating tissue. Promotes mental health. Regulates our mood, memory, and cognitive function. Lack of sleep has been linked to increase of stress, anxiety, and depression. Some of you just need to stop scrolling at night for an hour and a half, all right? And just go to sleep, and your depression will go away. You will need to come here to the front and say, Pastor, please pray for me. I think there's a spirit of heaviness is upon me. No, my friend, you just need to put away your phone and go to sleep. And do that for a good week, 2, so your body feels rested. And the spirit of depression will leave you just like that. Improves your memory, weight management. They're interconnected. Sleep and weight are interconnected. Boosts your immune system, increases your focus and productivity. So we're talking about our body influencing our soul and our spirit and the importance of taking care of our body. Now today's message is quite practical, okay? But I feel like we have to emphasize this, especially in a ministry like ours ministry that focuses so much on supernatural things and supernatural healing, that sometimes people think that prayer and casting out a demon or prophetic word fixes all things. God is not going to fix the things that He commissioned you to do. You understand? And so while for the conferences, yes, of course, on the conferences we focus on faith. You can receive it now, you can, and we have to, because we have to build people's faith. People flew from all over the places, and we want to be as effective as we can during that time. But as for the church and the kind of church we want to build a church that is well balanced and understands that spiritual influences the soul, soul influences the body, and vice versa. And that we approach these things in a healthy manner. The second thing that you need to do is diet. American food industry is bad. I mean, that's just being plain and simple and straight to the point. It's corrupt and it's bad. 74% of Americans are obese or overweight, and that increases the illness, including heart attack, stroke, diabetes, cancer, fatty liver, and a whole bunch of other things. The poor diet is now one of the leading causes in America. It's not even smoking or drunk driving. And short life is not because maybe perhaps you did something and it's a curse, because God said those that, for example, honor the father and mother, they will be blessed and live a long life. But it's simply because you're not taking care of your body, not taking care of your temple. God is not going to force you to eat right. He's not going to force you to get on a treadmill or go for a 15-minute walk in the fresh air. 5 major problems with American diet. 1 is sugar overload. This is scary news considering research showing that sugar are just as addictive as drugs like cocaine. So first problem is sugar overload. Second one, processed foods. About 60% of American diet is processed food. It fills you up, but it has no nutrition. Not enough fruits and vegetables. And even if you do get those, oftentimes they're filled with all sorts of harmful chemicals. But when you have a proper fruits and diet, you get enough vitamins, minerals, and anti-inflammatory compounds, and it helps you to be healthier, and you're less likely to fall to sickness or to virus or to cold. Number 4 is lack of fiber. Fiber feeds your healthy gut bacteria, keeps your blood sugars in check, and keeps your bowels moving. Yet around 95% of America don't get enough fiber. So some of your stomach issues and some of your even hormonal issues are due to the fact that your gut, your stomach, is not good. Gotta get some fiber in. And a fifth issue, the issue in American diet is the trans fats. Trans fats increase bad LDL cholesterol and lower your good HDL cholesterol, but they also increase risk of diabetes, heart disease, and stroke. Your body and brain needs good fats, omega-3 fatty acids, as shown to lower inflammation, improve heart health, and keep your brain sharp. Omega-3s are found in foods such as salmon, sardines, walnuts, and so on. I want you to look at food as fuel and medicine. Fuel and medicine. Food is the one that drives you, gives you fuel for life to do things, and what you eat either makes you healthy or makes you sick. Just look at it as medicine. I remember one time I was traveling for ministry, and when I arrived, they had a place for me, and the person that picked me up, they were supposed to have a car rental for me, but he said, hey, you can have my car. And his car was really, really nice. It was like a Mercedes high class, and I'm like, oof, man, it's nice, but I'm afraid to drive it because I don't want to scratch it. I don't want to do anything. But something that he told me, he's like, hey, when you go to a gas station, make sure you do only premium. This car will literally stall if you put bad gas in it. I was like, wow, so much for, and this car should be drinking anything, even if you put diesel in it. But if the car that is made of mechanical parts needs a particular fuel, how much you need a good fuel for your body to function well. All right? Proper diet helps you to maintain health and moods. A lot of stats, but let's skip those. Let's go to some of the stories. Many of you guys know Dr. Peterson. You know who I'm talking about? Jordan Peterson. And I'm not endorsing any particular diet. I'm just sharing different things that diet does. Okay? Different diets. And so you're gonna have to go to find a nutritionist, what do they call them, nutritionist? Or a doctor that can help you maybe tweak or put a proper diet for you, maybe concerning your particular health or your situation. But in his case, according to his own words, he tried the carnivore diet. First, it was started by his daughter, Michaela, who was 22, and she was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, bipolar disorder, hypersomnia, Lyme disease. So, I don't even know what you call it. Psoriasis, there you go. Not bad. And eczema. And she credited carnivore for sending all of those diagnoses into remission. After Michaela's transformation, Jordan Peterson tried the diet for himself. To begin the diet, follow strict, he started with a strict diet, and then he kind of went, adjusted a little bit. But according to his words, he said, I lost 50 pounds. My appetite has probably fallen by 70%. I don't get blood sugar dysregulation problems. I need way less sleep. My gums disease are gone. He used the word there, I won't use it. And Peter also reported anxiety, depression disappeared, and he gained more mental sharpness. Something that I see constantly people come and ask prayer for could possibly be as a result of a bad diet. And then these people leave disappointed because pastor prayed for them, leader prayed for them, and they didn't receive the healing, while God just wanted him or her begin to take charge of their own health, figure out how their body works, work with him to restore their normal functions. Now, I'm not saying that these diseases that are mentioned could not also be caused by demonic influence or soul. I've seen both. But I want us to understand that if we came for prayer, we believed it, we tried it, and we did not receive a desired result, that we don't give up. We do what we can do. We go to the end of ourselves, and when we come to the end and say, God, I tried everything, but the sickness still persists. Now you're convinced you've done everything, you've done your part, there's only one part left, is from God. And then you can fully be standing on His promises, knowing and expecting that He will heal you. Are you with me? Okay. Another story, Chris Walker was diagnosed with stage 2 cancer in 2003, 26 years old. Instead of seeking chemotherapy after his surgery, he chose nutrition involving juices, raw diet, and natural therapies to heal himself. Fast forward to 2013, he is alive and cancer-free for 9 years through a diet. Joe Cross was 100 pounds overweight, loaded up on the steroids, and suffering from debilitating autoimmune diseases before he embarked on his juicing cleansing journey. Convinced the doctors and conventional medicine were not able to help him long term, he decided to drastically change his lifestyle by vowing to drink fruit, fresh juice and vegetable juice for 60 days. And the only option he believed, that was the only option that he believed that could help him through this process. He successfully lost the weight and got himself off all prescription drugs. Today he's free of his autoimmune diseases and lives a happy, balanced life at the healthy weight. So your diet dictates oftentimes what your body produces. And I don't want us to be this single-minded that everything's from the devil. Oh, my heart is hurting, my heart is palpitating, you know, it's from the devil, and you've been living it up with cheeseburgers and bacon. Okay, guys, the Bible says, you know, let's not be fooled. God cannot be mocked. He put His principles in place. He told us to take care of ourselves. He's given us a ways to do it. He's given us the supply and resources to do it, and we must do our part, because God is not going to do our part for us. He's going to do His part. We are in partnership, not in God coming and dominating and doing everything for us. Then otherwise, why do we have a free will and a choice? Now, there are sometimes moments where we ourselves, through bad diet, through bad habits and all those things, get ourselves to a place where we cannot already be rescued. God miraculously needs to rescue us. And He does that by His mercy. He does it. I'm not saying that He's going to leave you to your own strength. But when He does do it, often many of us have this attitude, well, if He did it again, and we even say He did it once, He'll do it again. And then we just keep doing the things that we've been doing. Not sleeping, not eating healthy, not exercising, not doing the things that God has called us to do. And the last thing with the diet, supplement it with vitamins and supplements. Okay, the diet here, the food here is not the best. It doesn't have the nutritional value. So supplement it with vitamins, supplement it with different supplements that can help you sustain vitality, longevity, sharpness in the mind, and grow old with strength and vitality. Not that you get to 55 and you need help to walk up 2 stairs because of all the things that your body is experiencing. God said in Genesis chapter 1 verse 28, God blessed them and God said to them, be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it, have dominion over the fish in the sea, over the birds of the air and every living thing that moves on the earth. Listen, our original assignment by God before sin was to work the earth, subdue it, and to know what is the relationship between the earth and us. Are you getting what I'm saying? He wanted us to subdue it and rule over it and understand what fruit, what leaf, what root does to our body. How? Because God, when He created us, He put everything inside of us and on this earth to make our life joyful, full and plentiful. And it's our job to discover what affects our body in what way, and if we are hurting somewhere, what can reverse the things that we have acquired or feeling in our body. Are you with me? Is this helping anybody? Okay. Number 3, so we got, what do we got? We got sleep, we got diet. Number 3, we got exercise. You know I was gonna go there. All right. Exercise helps with weight control. Exercise combats health conditions and disease like stroke, metabolism syndrome, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, depression, anxiety, many types of cancer, arthritis, and falls. Exercise improves mood. Exercise boosts energy. Exercise promotes better sleep. Exercise puts the spark back into your sex life. And married people said, okay. I guess no, we can suffer in your intimacy. I mean, I'll say amen. Sal is with me. And only married people, please, okay? Exercise helps you to stay young. Exercise helps you to feel good about yourself. Just 15 minutes of walk. We're not even talking about a gym, lifting weights, running like crazy. 15 minutes of walk, especially in the nature. And in Northwest, we live here, it's such a beautiful surroundings. Just go for 15 minutes, throw in your headphones, put some light worship music on there, and just go admire the nature, admire the Lord. Bible says we see the Lord through the nature. You walk for 15 minutes, spend 15 minutes with the Lord, you kill 2 birds with 1 stone, physical and spiritual, you feel good about yourself, and you can continue to live life being encouraged, being motivated, and actually being happy and hopeful about life. Are you with me? Exercise builds muscle, and muscle mass is associated with longevity. Studies have shown that people that have greater muscle mass have lower risk of mortality. Muscle mass is associated with a number of health benefits, including reduced risk of chronic disease, better recovery from illness, improved metabolic health, strong and dense bones. Dr. Jampolis, in fact, in his research shows that 10 minutes of walking can lift your spirit, plus the effect may be amplified even more if you take a stroll through the greenery. Introduce good stress to your body to get rid of bad stress. Okay? Introduce good stress. Exercise is a stress to the body. Okay? But it's a controlled stress in a controlled environment, and that stress gets rid of, the good stress gets rid of the bad stress. So exercise, and I think the gyms should be giving me some cut from promoting at this point some exercise, because I expect some of you to sign up this week for some gym memberships, but at the very least go out on the walks, okay? And 4th thing concerning about health is fasting. Yeah. All right, more people excited about fasting. I'm not, but is this somebody's last name, Hippocrates? Yeah, but he said this: to eat when you're sick is to fuel your illness. As a matter of fact, when you're sick, you naturally don't want to eat. It's an interesting last. Did you put up that one? That one's interesting. The next slide. Yeah. Did I read it right? Hippocrates, well, look at that. Thank you. Hippocrates said, to eat when you're sick is feeling your illness. This is why animals, when they're sick, they don't eat. This is why when you're sick, your body doesn't want to eat. And one of the things that when I grew up with mom and grandma, one of the first things that you're sick, they're just stuff you. Eat it, as if eating more actually gonna help you. And then actually science says that when you're sick, you should not be eating stuff in your stomach and allow, because what happens is when you eat, then the blood focuses on the stomach to break down the food, instead of trying to go through your body and get rid of the toxins and all kinds of stuff. On top of it, oftentimes we are sick, like we talked about, because our gut is sick and the body needs to get rid of the virus and bad microbes out of your body so you can actually get healthy. But if we just keep stuffing ourselves, the chicken noodle soup and other stuff. Now, I'm not saying this is the same all across every sickness and every disease. Sometimes when you're prolonged sick, you do need, obviously you need food, you need a specific food, but I'm speaking generally, and science actually, approves of it or confirms it. Ben Franklin said the best of all medicine is rest and fasting. Mark Twain said this, a little starvation can really do more for the average sick person than the best medicine and the best doctors. In the Bible, food actually plays a big role. Fasting is your training ground for temptation. Fasting is your training ground for temptation. Temptation with food. You know you shouldn't eating those Twinkies, right? But you still eat them. You know that extra fries and extra burger is probably not good for you, okay? But you still eat them because you can't resist the temptation, right? Fasting helps you to get your cravings under control. It helps you to get mastery over your cravings. We should enjoy things. I want to. I love food. God has given us food to enjoy. But we should do it in moderation and according to our health condition. Some people can eat lots of fruits and they're fine. Some people eat lots of fruits, it's too much sugar for them. Some people can, go all out on meat and they need a lot of meat to eat in order for them to feel good. Other people need to have more fruits and vegetables. Different for different people, but we should enjoy what God has or given us, but we should not abuse it. And by introducing fasting helps us to get hold of our cravings so that we can be healthy in our body. There's many other benefits of fasting we're going to talk about, but one of the first ones is to help us to curb our appetites and desires. You know that the first temptation was with food in the Garden of Eden, and they failed, and look at us now. Struggling with any sorts of sickness and diseases. We can't take 3 steps without running out of breath, okay? People, I don't know how they came up with this, but there's some scientists, they kind of came to a conclusion that the kind of body and environment we lived in as a human beings before the fall, we could run for 100 miles and would not get tired. That's super cool. But unfortunately, we're not there. We can't even run 100 meters without huffing and puffing. And so first temptation in Genesis chapter 3 verse 1 was with food. The first temptation with Israel was with what? With food. In Exodus chapter 16 verse 3. The first temptation Jesus had was what? With food. You get in a picture, Matthew chapter 4 verse 4. And after 40 days when Jesus fasted, he was at the peak of his strength, not at the lowest point of at the weakness. Benefits of fasting. Fasting, 1, expels toxins out of your body. Fasting promotes food sugar control by reducing insulin resistance. It promotes better health and fighting inflammation. Enhances heart health by improving your blood pressure and many other fancy words. Cholesterol, I can read that one. Boosts brain functions and prevent neurodegenerative disorders. Aids weight loss by limiting calories and intake and boosting metabolism. Increases growth hormones, secretion, thank you, which is vital for growth, metabolism, weight loss, and muscle strength, promotes longevity, aids cancer prevention, and increases effectiveness of chemotherapy, and changes to the function of cell, genes, and hormones. Fasting actually helps to reset your body. I noticed that when I go on a prolonged fasting, something like 21 days or more, I have naturally a salty, savory taste. And sometimes my foods get pretty salty. When I go on the fast and I come back to eating, I'm like, how in the world did I eat so much salt? For other people, it's with sugar. It's kind of like a bottomless pit. We go more and more and more. When we go on a prolonged fast, it resets our taste buds, it resets our cravings, and we're actually now beginning to taste it more closer to what it should taste like, and now bring a proper intake into our body. Bible speaks of multiple different fasts. First, let's talk about duration. Bible speaks 1, 3 days, 7 days, 21 days, and 40 days. Now, the days are particularly not significant in itself, but they do have a particular, even health, doctors agree, even a health benefit for particular days. After about 3 days, your body begins to switch from external food, external fuel to your internal, and begins to burn your fat. And so, and then this is why after about 3 days or so, you're beginning to feel much better while you're fasting. Your hunger and other things, they subside and go away, because now it switched to a better source of fuel. And you're feeling, actually, after about 3 to 4 days, you're feeling sharper in your mind. You need less sleep. You're feeling more energetic, and you're feeling great. Body can go, doctors say about your body can go without food. A healthy person can go without food for about 40 days. It begins to burn all the internal stuff, get rid of all the things, live off of internal fuel. And after about 40 days that your body begins to turn on you and begins to eat itself. So, and doctors recently just discovered really that when the Bible pretty much had those patterns already laid out. So you're wondering why about certain numbers in the Bible, they all actually make sense, and scientists begin to understand why. All right, different types of fasting. Absolute fast is going without food or water for some time. Usually you can go about as long as, they say, 3 days without water, if especially in a dry environment. There have been people that have lasted a lot longer than that without water, but it's not recommended, and it's really heavy, especially if you have not done fasting. It's really heavy on your kidneys. I mean, it will feel like somebody just punched the living lights out of your kidneys. And so I've done a few times. Yeah, it's not for the faint of heart. Partial fast is commonly a normal fast or full fast is referred to no eating but drinking. Intermittent fasting, why am I going ahead of myself? Partial fast is commonly referred to a Daniel fast, is where you abstain from certain foods like no meats, no sweets, no dairy, pretty much nothing that tastes good. The things you can do is fruits and vegetables and seeds and nuts, okay? And then there's another type of fast, but not necessarily, okay, no, actually it is biblical. Intermittent fasting. The church in the Bible says in a New Testament church fasted twice a week, and it was more to what you would call us right now an intermittent fast. They would start in the morning and finish about 3 or 4 in a day, and they did that twice a week fasting, and they would break it with oftentimes with communion. Intermittent fasting is alternate day fasting, meaning you eat one day your full size meal, next day you don't eat anything or you eat a small portion of it. There is a 5-2 fast, which is normally out of the 7 days you don't eat 2 days. So 5 days you eat, 2 days you don't eat. Usually you space them. And daily time restricted fast. So for example, like you don't eat for 18 hours. Usually that includes the night, and you eat only within a 6-hour window during the day. I have done that. And it works wonders and works great helps to control appetite, weight. You still get you still practically eat almost whatever you'd like to eat, but within that 6-hour window, and you feeling great. Intermittent fasting helps to maintain muscle weight. It also targets belly fat, those of you who want to lose weight. So practical approach to fasting. Choose the type of fast you want to do. So any of those 4. Choose the duration of the fast. Okay, whether it's 1 day, 3 days, 7 days, 21 days, 40 days, whatever it is. It helps to set the goal so you are encouraged to go toward it. Because oftentimes what happens, you begin your fast, okay, and you're like, oh, I'll go as long as I feel like it. Well, guess what? 3 hours later, you're not gonna feel it, okay? A day later, when you wake up and your stomach is grumbling and you have maybe a little bit of a headache, you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna go and eat. Or 3 days later, you're thinking of maybe perhaps going longer, but since you have not determined the length, it's easy to quit any time in the duration. But when you set the time, set the duration, it'll help you to hit the target. So choose a duration, stay hydrated. If you are doing a normal fast or full fast, make sure that you consume about 1 gallon of water a day, preferably mineralized water, and stay hydrated and replenish your electrolytes. So things like anything that can replenish your electrolytes. I like pickle juice. I don't know why, but does it for me. It has a bunch of electrolytes, a little bit of good sugar in that to kind of, especially if you're doing a long fast, 3 weeks or something like that. And it tastes good too, for me. And so stay hydrated. Now, you might start off with a little bit more water. I recommend if you go on a longer fast, longer than 3 days, your first 3 days, drink a little bit extra water. And here's kind of how I judge. When I go to the bathroom, and if my urine anything but clear, you're not drinking enough water. First 3-4 days, you're cleaning out a lot of the garbage out of your body. Give your liver some liquids to wash it out. Otherwise, you might experience headache. It's not fatal if you experience a headache, or even feel like you even experiencing lower back pain, but it's just the kidneys not having enough water to expel the toxins. And sometimes if you have not done it and you're in a pretty bad shape, even chugging water, you still might experience a little bit of headache and a little bit of back pain. That's normal if you have not done it in a long time or ever, and you're not in the best shape of your life, okay? During a fast, limit your physical activity during a fast. Rest and sleep during fast. That goes really good with fasting. Especially if you're going on a longer fast, after 3 days, your body reverts to the internal fuel and begins to eat your fat and gets rid of all the junk in there. If you do too much activity, your stomach begins to eat your muscle. And if you do because some people are like, oh, okay, since I'm fasting, I'm gonna do exercise and lift weights, and I'll do the double. Actually, you are doing it worse, because when you begin to exercise and the body sees that it's not enough nutrients, it begins to go for a higher quality source, which is your muscle fiber. It's much more dense, it's much more richer. And so if you're doing physical activity during the fast, then it begins to attack your actual muscle tissue instead of your fat. You want your fat to be gone, your bad fat to be gone, and all that stuff. So just limit rest and sleep. And if you want to make that to count for your spiritual activity, you want to get closer to God, add Bible reading, add prayer, and add meditation, and you kill 2 birds with 1 stone, okay? That is on fasting. So coming back to, and I'm wrapping it up here, coming back to this idea that, it's up to God. God needs to do everything. No, God is asking you to do your part. Now, like I said, some of us have gone down already that path. We couldn't do it maybe. We're struggling with it, or we are so deep in it that now we were struggling. God will give you mercy. Either God will supernaturally heal you so that you can begin on this process of being restored in your body, or He'll give you motivation to do this. And many of us don't see a motivation to exercise and to begin to take care of our temple as God's answered prayer. And so many of us, we ignore the very answer we're praying for because we're thinking He's gonna zap us with the lightning bolt, we're gonna feel something, and then we're gonna walk out and say, wow, I just lost 50 pounds. And I've seen those miracles. I've been in a service when people literally were walking out holding their pants because they were 2 times the size of it. I mean, it was crazy. God has done it. God can do anything. But if He hasn't done it when you prayed once, twice, 3 times, maybe perhaps He wants you to get in the habit, working with Him and following His principles of health in your body. It's spiritual to take care of your body. It's not carnal. You can do for God as much as your body will allow you to do it. Many of us have this aspiration to do more for God, but if your knees are hurting, if you constantly get sick, you can't even make it to church, how much are you going to be able to do for God? So taking care of our body is very spiritual, and demons, they take advantage of a wounded body, of a weak body. I'm actually going to finish on this because I feel like it's important about medications and doctors. Again, the reason why I have to address this is because I already personally had to address this many times in our church here. And because in the ministries like ours that believes in supernatural, practices the supernatural, expects the supernatural to happen every single service, oftentimes people think that taking medication is lack of faith. Going to the doctor after you received prayer is somehow going to cancel the miracle that you received on Sunday night when you go to the doctor on Monday morning. It's not. As a matter of fact, God even used medicine in the Bible to bring health or relief towards people, and it wasn't considered lack of faith. God has given us the resources and given us the responsibility to know what to do, to learn it. Think about it, so many people get extended life because they have a heart surgery. But somebody had to learn how to do a heart transplant. And now their years, I talked to a man who's 35 years past surgery. He's in his 80s, and that guy he looks like he's 55, and he moves like he's 55. That didn't live a good lifestyle. That kind of got him to the bad health issue. After that, started taking care of it. For the last 35 years, been living a full healthy life, seeing a 3rd generation of his children and children's children. And that's the promise of God for you. And so medication and doctors are not bad. And I don't want us in this ministry to have this mindset or an idea that if you take medication after prayer, that means you did not believe God. In Pasco, in Hungrygen Church, we have doctors and nurses that come to our church. And there was one particular case that I was working with a doctor who's was helping us with one particular case with mental illness, an issue with the mental illness. And I came to the doctor, and he agreed to help this young man. And I said to this doctor, I said, "Doctor, you know in our church we believe in supernatural healing." He's like, "I know." I said, "Listen, how can we work with you? How can you help us? How can we work with you and yet still believe for medical healing?" He said, "Simple. Whenever God heals this man, his blood analysis will show it and we'll win off his medicine." Simple as that. It doesn't negate his faith, doesn't cancel his faith. This man now living a normal life for the last couple of years, but before he couldn't. He's living his life serving the church, in the church, part of the business, living fully normal, complete life with the help of medication, understands his diagnosis, yet at the same time believes for his miracle and prophetically through multiple people that didn't even know his diagnosis, they said, they prophesied, God used them to prophesy that God's gonna heal him. He is patiently waiting and expecting his healing to come. When it comes, his doctors will know, and he said, we'll wean you off the medication, no problem. So, claiming healing and taking medication does not cancel one and the other. You can do it. Now, some people God might lead them to take off medication, get off meds, and begin to, that will be their faith exercise. But for the most cases that I have come across in the last 15 years of ministry, that is not the case. I know in another ministry, a man who after prayer was so emotionally moved, and he was sure that God healed him, went off to dialysis and then passed away. But he could have simply gone to the doctor, had a checkup, and doctor said, your kidney is working 100%, you don't need no more dialysis, I'm gonna take you off of it. And that's it. But now he's gone. His children are missing him, his wife is missing him. And so while we exercise faith, when God heals you, doctors will confirm it. Analysis will confirm it. And so it's okay to go to the doctors. It's okay to take medication while believing for healing. That doesn't cancel your faith. I want us to have this attitude. I want us to have this approach. I want us to have this understanding that God wants to partner with each and one of us in different ways. Some of you will receive it miraculously for this problem. Next one, God wants to work with you in your health. Some of you in the same issue, He's gonna heal you, but would want to work with you with your faith on this one. Some of you, He's gonna begin to work with your soul, begin to get you restored. Some of you will need to go get some counseling and therapy. God will use especially good godly counselors to help you understand your soul, your pains, your struggles, your traumas. And as you talk through them, as God begins to heal you, your body will begin to respond. And you, like this woman who was sharing, all her trauma was gone, and all of a sudden I can see colors. I can see, not even see colors, I know what the colors are on top of it. Don't put God in a box how He wants to heal you. Some of you will get healed during a service. Some of you will get healed when you get home. Some of you will get healed as you exercise. Some of you get healed as you get whole in your heart. Let God use different keys to heal you, to touch you. Sometimes it will be multiple keys, be all three of them. But work with God toward your healing. Don't give up hope just because you got received prayer here once, and you went back home and said, man, maybe God doesn't love me. Maybe I'm different. I hear these testimonies of people getting healed left and right. What about me? I've prayed here in this conference, at this church, at that church, and the other man of God prayed for me, and the other prophet prayed for me. Maybe perhaps God doesn't love me. What's wrong with me? Because that's the questions we begin to ask when we don't receive. But if you're gonna go broader, if you're gonna see it wider, and you're gonna see as a partnership with God, and you begin to search out His heart and His ways for you to your healing. First, your faith will be boosted. 2, you will discover God in a new way. 3, you will get your healing. Versus, oh, one way didn't work, I guess it doesn't work for me at all. And give up and quit and just suffer for the rest of your life. Now, am I saying that God is always gonna heal everybody? I don't know. Hebrews tells us that people died waiting for the promise. But one thing it says, they died in what? In faith. So, I'd rather have a heart disease and live believing God for healing and eventually die, but die in faith knowing that God wants me to be healthy and He wants to heal me. I don't know why it didn't happen. Maybe I didn't do something, maybe there was some sovereign part of God's plan to use this for something. Maybe there's some spiritual thing that I didn't know, I didn't get to, I didn't break, I didn't cast it out. I don't know, but at least I died in faith, trusting God. Then to come to one prayer, didn't receive it, and then for the rest of my life thinking, man, poor little me, why God doesn't love me? Why God just treats me different than He treats others? You see what I'm saying, church? Let's be people of faith, let's be people of hope, and let's give God an opportunity to use different keys to unlock our health and restore our physical health.